Welcome back to the Healthapalooza radio show. We're counting down the top 10 health and fitness stories of the week. Do you take fish oil supplements? So many people out there do. As a doctor, it's probably the most common supplement patients ask me about. And that's why this story is number 8 on our countdown. 8. Millions of Americans take fish oil supplements because they're known to be anti-inflammatory and healthy for the heart. Some studies show they may lift depression, lower the risk of dementia, stroke, diabetes, and even some cancers. But now a new study from doctors in the Netherlands is raising concerns about the supplements when being treated for cancer with chemotherapy. The researchers were studying tumor growth on mice and in human cancer cells and noticed 2 critical fatty acids allowed the cancerous tumors to become resistant to treatment with nearly all forms of chemotherapy. These are called PIFAs, that's P-I-F-A, and it's just an acronym for platinum-induced fatty acids. The researchers found once PIFAs formed in mice or in the human cell cultures, the tumors became insensitive to chemotherapy and resistant to treatment. Now here's the problem. Many commercially available fish oil supplements contain the exact same PIFAs, and when researchers gave the mice the fish oil supplements, the tumors quickly became insensitive to the chemotherapy treatments. Now I know that many people with cancer are taking fish oil supplements as part of a broad, healthier living strategy, but if you're being treated for cancer and have been taking fish oil, make sure you talk with your doctor about any possible interference. 7. Another cancer story takes the number 7 spot this week, but this could possibly be a breakthrough. Scientists have discovered a new virus that kills all stages of breast cancer, and it does it in just 7 days. This story comes from scientists at Penn State College of Medicine. The virus is called AAV2 for adeno-associated virus type 2. It's a virus that can infect humans but causes no disease under most circumstances, at least none that we know of. Previous research has suggested that the virus could destroy cervical cancer cells that are infected with the HPV virus. And just to remind you, HPV is the virus that's responsible for the majority of cases of cervical cancer. But we're talking about breast cancer. Researchers wanted to know if this same virus, AAV2, could also destroy breast cancer cells. So they tried it out in a lab, and when they infected human breast cancer cells with the virus, the cancer cells died within 7 days. And the best part? The virus did not infect healthy cells. So how does all this happen? Well, the main problem with cancer cells of all kinds is that they don't die like regular cells in the body. They're almost immortal, so they keep dividing wildly and haphazardly in some cases, and that's what forms cancerous tumors. They all pile up on top of each other. It's believed the AAV2 virus is activating the natural death pathways in the breast cancer cells, rendering them mortal again, just like every other cell in the body. Now this is really good news because when we're treating breast cancer, we often have to consider multiple factors for a treatment plan. How aggressive is the tumor, how far advanced the disease is, how far the tumors have spread in the body, and the hormonal status of the tumors. So the fact that this therapy might work in all kinds of breast cancers at all stages of the disease holds a lot of promise. And since it doesn't infect normal cells, it would have very, very low toxicity. It could lead one day to a single new treatment for women with all forms of breast cancer. Okay, now let's change gears and talk about Alzheimer's disease. Roughly 5 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's disease, and millions more will develop the devastating brain condition in the coming decades. There is no cure, and current treatments do very little to slow its progress. But now there's new hope in the form of an insulin nasal spray, and that is number 6 on the countdown this week. 6. You're probably familiar with insulin, a hormone produced by the pancreas that helps take sugar out of our bloodstream. It's the same hormone that's absent or not functioning properly in diabetes. But insulin has several other roles inside our bodies and inside our brains, and it might even help fight Alzheimer's disease.
In the last few years, we've come to understand that insulin has a number of very important roles to play in the brain. In particular, it's very critical for memory used to form, and it also protects against the toxic effects of proteins like the amyloid protein, which is the protein that collects in the brains of patients with Alzheimer's disease.
That's Dr. Suzanne Kraft from the Puget Sound VA Medical Center in Seattle, Washington. Kraft and her colleagues studied 104 people who had all been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease or mild cognitive impairment. Mild cognitive impairment, or MCI, is believed to be, in many folks, a precursor to Alzheimer's disease. Some of the subjects in the study were given insulin by an intranasal mist, while others received a placebo, a mist that contained only saline. The researchers found those who got the doses of insulin had improvements in memory and concentration, and it even seemed to slow down the progress of the disease. Previous studies have suggested that people with Alzheimer's disease have lower levels of insulin inside their brains or low levels of insulin function. Regular injections of insulin don't cross the blood-brain barrier, but by using the intranasal method, insulin readily enters the brain in about 15 to 20 minutes by using the open nerve endings of the nose. In this study, brain scans showed improvements in 2/3 to 3/4 of the patients that got the actual spray. Now, this was a small study and much more research needs to be done before it can be proven to be effective, but it certainly holds a lot of promise. Okay, let's move on to number 5. Maybe you've seen them on someone you know, or perhaps you've seen them in the mirror. Raised, yellowish patches on the eyelids and around the eye area. They look a little bit like small pieces of chicken fat. We doctors call the condition xanthelasma, spelled with an X, not a Z. And we've known for a long time that the yellow blobs could be a sign of high cholesterol, because those blobs contain a lot of cholesterol. So a team of Danish researchers wanted to find out if xanthelasma could also be a sign of heart disease. They found older men with yellow eyelid patches faced a 12% increased risk of developing heart disease, and older women faced an 8% increased risk. There might be some truth to the old saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. A new study finds a diet high in white fruits like apples and pears might lower the risk of stroke. Dutch researchers gave a diet questionnaire to 20,000 people and found those who reported eating the highest amounts of white fruits reduced their risk of stroke by 52% during the 1-year study period. White fruits are named by the color of their flesh and include apples, pears, and bananas. It's believed these white fruits are high in fiber and flavonoids, which are plant compounds known to keep the arteries youthful and more flexible. Fruits with red, orange, or purple flesh did not lower the stroke risk. Okay, coming up after the break, is Diet Cola making you fatter? I'm gonna tell you what a yogasm is, and does sex sell to monkeys? You're gonna find out. The top 3 stories of the week are straight ahead. You're listening to the Healthapalooza radio program.